All right, what's up, everyone? And today I'm just going to talk about some of the worst customers that I've ever had in retail. Now, I've worked retail for a while, and you will have some bad customers when you work in retail. It's just kind of, it's like saying water is wet or something like that. Like, it's going to happen. And, I really don't like to put up with these people, that's for sure. But, so the first one here, it's going to be when I worked at the cell phone store. And at the cell phone store, if you work at one, you will get a lot of bad customers. And I think it's just because they're really angry about their bills. Usually, there's something wrong with their bill, um, and there's just like this general animosity towards cell phone stores. And I think it's the bills getting screwed up, and also it's the fact that these people go in here for help, and they pretty much have to spend the whole day in there. Sometimes, like I've had interactions where it's just 6 hours, basically the whole day. And a lot of people don't like that. Like they go to get a new phone and they don't want to spend all day in there and like it. Yeah, I understand that, but I think that's why cell phone stores get really bad customers. But anyway, so this first one, this was pretty much my first really bad customer and probably the worst, to be honest. One of the worst for sure. So it was this older lady. I think she was in her 60s, something like that. And she smelled like cigarette smoke all the time, and just had this like really like deep raspy voice. And but she would come in and be like really nice to us, except for when she didn't get what she wanted. Then she would just turn. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. She would just turn completely. It was like a whole different personality that she had. And sometimes she would come in with this older lady, and I know her name was Mary, because this lady, she would come in with her, and she wasn't mean like this other lady was. She was really nice, but she would come in with her scooter and stuff. And I think she was homeless too. She would come in on her scooter, and she would always want to get a new phone and get new service. And I think she had some dementia or something, because she came in multiple times and got plans from us, and she had said that she'd gone to Verizon and got some from them. And I'm just like, what is going on here? But anyway, so she would usually come in with her. Sometimes she wouldn't, though. But yeah, one thing I do want to explain about working at a cell phone store is that you'll have tons of regular customers, and you would think it's a cell phone store. Like how can there be that many recurring customers? But no, you have a lot of recurring customers, probably even more so than most other stores. And I don't really know why that is. Uh, Most of them are just old people that just can't figure out their phone, and they come in multiple times a week. But yeah, no, this lady, she would come in at least once a week, probably multiple times a week. And it was always the same thing. It was like, there's a problem with my bill, you need to fix my bill. Why is my bill this much? And it just gets annoying after a while, because it was the same thing every single time she came in. But anyway, so this one particular time she came in, and she wanted to get a brand new iPhone, right? I think it was the iPhone 14 at the time. But she wanted a brand new iPhone. And mind you, right now she had a Samsung A15 that was not paid off. So it was just on her account, not paid off yet. And she was wanting to get this new iPhone. And I was telling her, well, you can get the new iPhone, but you do have to pay off your old phone, and there's about $300 left on it. And she just got really mad. She's like, what do you mean? I already paid for that phone. And I'm like, you're paying for it right now, but you haven't paid it off fully. It's a monthly payment thing. You haven't paid it off yet. You have to pay the $300 if you want to get this new phone, and then this new phone's going to go on your bill unless you want to buy it outright. And, of course she wanted to put it on the bill, so... but she just got really mad at me, started calling me stupid, and, at this point, this was like the fifth time that she had come in before. And I just kind of lost it, because she came in just immediately angry about her bill and like why it was this much. And so this is a different time, by the way, where she came in yelling about her bill. She had actually put a home internet on her bill, and I guess forgot that it was there or something like that, because she just came in completely angry, just like, why is my bill gone up $35? And I'm like, okay, well, let's look in your account and just see what's going on, see if there's anything that's wrong on our end. And I got into her account, and there was a home internet on there, and it was like $35. And I was like, yeah, so it says you came in last week and you got a home internet, so that's why the bill went up $35. And then she's like, no, I already paid for that. No, I didn't. I already paid for the home internet. Why is it on my bill? And I'm like, you have to pay monthly for the home internet. It's a service. You didn't just buy the box, And, she just didn't respond to me. And so I repeated it. And then she was like, stop saying the same thing like you're stupid or something like that. She called me stupid, basically. It just made me really mad. So basically I was like, well, I was going to help you, but now I'm not because of the way you're talking to me. And she's like, you have to help me. That's your job. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't have to help you. And, she was getting really mad at this point. And my manager was dealing with another customer. I could see that customer's face, and he was just like, it was kind of awkward. And then that customer just immediately left because I guess because we're kind of like yelling at each other. And my manager comes over and he just takes it over, and he's like, hey, just go sit in the back for a minute. I'll take it over. And I'm like, okay, well, went to the back and I got lunch and just kind of calmed down from that. But, it makes you mad when someone's just calling you stupid. I'm actively trying to help you, and you're over here calling me stupid and just acting like a child. And it's her fault that the bill went up anyway. And it's like, how do you not? I don't even know. But I know that you're not supposed to get angry like that in customer service, and it's something that it's just really hard to do because some of the people you run into are just complete morons, and it's just like, I'm sorry, but they are. They're complete morons sometimes, and it's just really hard to bite your tongue and not say anything when someone's over here yelling at you, especially if you're already having a frustrating day, and it's just icing on top of the cake at that point. Now, pretty surprisingly, I didn't get in trouble for this, and I think it was because my manager understood what was going on, and this lady had been in here for, like I said, like 5 times at that point, just coming in and just annoying us. And so it really wasn't that big of a deal. And, she was cussing at me and stuff, and it's like, there's no reason to act like that, especially when your bill went up because of something that you put on there. It just makes no sense. And, sometimes I think these people are just trying to get something out of us. Like, she also mentioned suing us and stuff. Like, I'm going to sue you guys. And, it's like, come on. No, you're not. And if you do, you're not going to win, I really think they do just want to try and get some stuff out of us just to try and annoy us enough to where we'll just give her what she wants, which that does happen sometimes. I mean, people would come in and make a big enough deal about something, and then they would just go ahead and put their bill down to 0, even though they didn't pay for it. So that is something that does happen, and it's really stupid. I mean, we shouldn't be encouraging this behavior. If anything, you should just be kicked out of the store immediately if that happens. And, if I owned a store, I would be kicking people out as soon as they started acting like that, because I'm nice to people until they start acting like that. And then after that, it's just, I'm not going to be nice anymore. I'm going to be pretty much on par with them. It's just like, don't treat me like that. I'm trying to help you. But yeah, she was definitely one of the worst customers that I've ever had. Now, the second one, it's hard to really say that he was bad, but I'm just going to talk about him because he ended up being really annoying. Now, it was this really old guy. He was probably about 70 or 80, something like that. And he would come in all the time, and I mean multiple times a week. And he had this Buick car, and he couldn't figure out how to connect his phone to it. He couldn't figure out how to connect the Bluetooth and how to make the radio work and all that stuff. So he wanted us to go out to his car and do that for him. Now, we're probably not supposed to do that, but my manager went out there and helped him out. And, I went out there and helped him out the second time he came in, and my other coworker went out there to help him out. And he just wanted to keep you out there in the car to just talk. Like, he would go out there and he'd be, just like, he couldn't figure it out. I'd figure it out for him, right? And it was just really hard to get away from him. He would just, even in the store, he would talk to you for like, over an hour sometimes. And, the only time that you could really get away from him is if another customer came in. And sometimes he'd be like, oh, well, go ahead and help them or something like that. But, I mean, he came in all the time. He always expected us to go out to his car, and it's just something that I don't like doing, And, like it's just really weird to get into some stranger's car and, I mean, I understand, like, he was a nice guy and everything, but it's like, I'm trying to do my job. I don't really want to go out and sit in your car for a long time and stuff, but every time we'd figure it out for him, he would come back and there'd be some other issue. But yeah, I mean, one time he actually asked my coworker to go along with him to the mall just to make sure that the GPS was working, and he was like, no, I can't do that. I can't just leave my job. Which is kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, it got to the point where every time I saw this guy walking towards the door, I was just like, oh, come on. And, you know, most of us would kind of joke about that. Like, I even had one of my coworkers even saw him and just went to the back room and just left me there to deal with it. And I'm just like, are you serious? You're just going to let me deal with that? You're just going to make me deal with this? Come on, you know? But, you know, as annoying as he was, at least he was a nice guy. And I think he was just a lonely old man that just wanted to talk to someone. It did get annoying, but it wasn't nearly as bad as some of the other customers I've experienced. But, you know, I just thought about putting that on here just because it was kind of annoying, to be honest. Now, this next one, it's not necessarily one customer. It's just kind of a type of customer, and that is the ones that come in late. And I mean, like, 2 minutes before I close and expect to get, like, 7 lines. And, like, I'm not lying, this happened multiple times, but, you know, this one time, there was this family that was going to show up and get 7 lines, and they had said that they couldn't come in today because they had to, I don't know, they didn't get their paycheck yet or just something like that. They couldn't come in that day. But here we are, like, 3 minutes before closing, and then they just show up, and they're like, well, we're time to do 7 lines. And I'm just like, are you serious? And of course my manager was there, and he was like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I'm like, come on, dude. It's going to take forever. And the whole time, these people are making jokes about how, oh man, well, you guys are here late. And it's like, yeah, I wonder why we're here late. You know, and he's like, well, at least you guys get a sale. Oh, wow, it's way past closing time, isn't it? It's like, dude, just shut up. You know, at that point, like, it was just so annoying because I had been there since, like, 9:15 in the morning. And I was like really hungry, and I just wanted to go home. And we ended up being there until almost 11 o'clock. I think it was like 10:50 by the time we got out. And for reference, the store is supposed to close at 8. So, I mean, that one was insane. It just made me really mad. That one was, yeah. And part of it's the manager's fault too. It's like, you should have just told them to come back the next day. It's like, I know you want the sale, but come on. You know, we spent all day with pretty much no customers, and then they decide to come in 2 minutes before closing, and then we just have to stay here multiple hours past when we're supposed to leave. It was insane. And then I had to be there the next morning at 9:15 a.m. So, yeah, that was really frustrating. Those are definitely the worst people that you'll deal with. You know, in my opinion, if you're scheduled to leave at a certain time, that is when you should leave. That's when you should be able to leave. And, you know, I was asking, like, can I leave? And he was like, well, no, you want to get your numbers on it, right? You want the sale, right? And I'm just like, I guess. You know, I mean, I guess I could have left, but I don't know if... I mean, yeah, at the time, I wanted to go above and beyond for my job. You know, I realize now that that's not really the best thing to do, especially for retail, but we'll get into that in another video. So yeah, this video is almost 15 minutes long, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, so I haven't even talked about my other retail job yet, my most recent one. So, but if you guys want to hear about any of those customers, just go ahead and comment about it or like the video or something, and then I'll go ahead and talk about them. But yeah, that's about it.
Final round.